Mark Sinelli's Great Baseball Yarn, Right Field, presented by Frank Dattilo, Part II. As the game began, I took my usual spot in right field. Unlike the major leagues, where the right fielder, like the Detroit Tigers' Al Kaline, was one of the best hitters with the strongest throwing arm, right field was relegated to the worst player. The only exception would be if you were the coach's son. Then you could play any position other than right. The real reason that right field was so unpopular was that almost all the players batted from the right side of the plate, and very rarely did a ball get hit towards right field. If it did, chances are the second baseman would run out and make the play and spare the embarrassment of a major flub by the right fielder, in this case me. At worst case, you may have to try to block a fast skipping roller and throw it back to the infield. Oftentimes, you spent most of the game backing up first base on the throws across the infield. But today would be different. Big Vince Castellucci was a true first baseman. Threw with his left hand and batted from the right side of the plate. The first time up, he was a little anxious, probably due to missing that last game while he was at Point Pelee. And he swung at a high pitch around the bill of his cap. He hit a towering pop-up in the infield that had every one of the infielders, along with the pitcher and catcher, calling for it. When it finally came down, our pitcher and our best player, blonde-haired George Sonny Conway, caught it behind the pitcher's mound about halfway to second base. I felt temporarily relieved, but also I knew he would probably get at least two more at-bats. His next time up, in the top of the fourth inning, with a tying run on first, Vince smashed a line drive over our center fielder's head that rolled all the way to the next diamond. By the time our fleet center fielder picked up the ball, Vinny, as he was more often called, was rounding third and headed home. The Pirates now led 2-1 over our Tuller Street Titans. The score stayed that way until the bottom of the fifth, when Sonny knocked in two runs with a bases-loaded double to put the Titans ahead, our Titans ahead 3-2. Now, it was the top of the sixth and final inning and ending, as was the rule in our 12 and under league. Unless, of course, it was tied, in which case we would play extra innings. As I took my spot in right field, I nervously began kicking the tops off of many of the yellow dandelions that were growing underfoot. I cleared approximately, I'd say, 2 square feet of yellow wildflowers as Sonny Conway struck out their first two batters. All we had to do now was get the next hitter out, and the game was ours because Vinny Castellucci doesn't get to hit again if he gets the next hitter out. That breath of relief was short-lived as Sonny got too careful and walked their number 3 hitter. Up strode big, bad Vinny Castellucci. He kept looking straight out towards right field as he adjusted himself in the batter's box. The first 2 pitches were low and outside. The next pitch was more to his liking, and with a vicious swing, he connected, but was way out in front. The ball must have traveled at least 300 feet, but it was a good 20 feet foul. I breathed another sigh of relief. The next pitch was in the dirt. It advanced the runner to second. Now, with first base open, I strategized that we should intentionally walk Vinny Castellucci and pitch to the next batter, a right-handed batter. Sonny Conway didn't see it that way. He threw his best fastball right down the middle of the plate, right down Woodward, as Ernie Harwell would say. And Vinny was ready for it. He launched a line drive that went screaming over our second baseman, straight at me. I froze momentarily as the ball appeared to be rising, but no more than a couple of feet above my head. Almost in a self-defensive mode, I threw my glove hand above my head, and I felt the power of that baseball as it hit my glove. Instinctively, I peeked several feet behind me into the sea of untouched dandelions, and I felt a sense of panic, sheer panic. I had not the cloudiest idea on this cloudless afternoon where that ball was hiding. With amazement, I then noticed that our fast center fielder, who had been attempting to back me up, was jumping up and down with his fist raised high in the air. Vinny had stopped halfway between first and second and was glaring at me as if I had done something to offend him. Boy, had I offended Vinny Castellucci. As our coach ran out to the mound, Sonny and the rest of our victorious team were beginning to celebrate. I suddenly noticed that a third of the baseball was protruding through the webbing of my glove. A delicious snow cone. Boy, I began to run quickly towards the infield and casually flipped that baseball to our second baseman. As I did, Vinny walked up to me with a congratulatory pat on the top of the head as the rest of our players and dear Coach Holloway converged on this right fielder with a hero's welcome. Now, an important note. Mark Sinelli patrolled right field at Tiger Stadium for the St. Gregory School Cherokees in real life.